Hey everybody, Pastor Greg here. I'm excited about life and I know that you are too, because life is good and it's getting better all the time. On behalf of myself and the Celebration Spiritual Center family, we want to invite you to join us next Sunday for Friends and Family Day. We're going to be having a potluck outside after service and we want to see you here in the place. If you're in this tri-state area, you should be here. Doors open at 10 a.m. and the service starts promptly at 10:30 a.m. You can go to our website for the address and for directions, www.celebrationsc.org. We are in another powerful week of our series, The Gospel of Awesome. Let's get into today's message. It is okay to celebrate because that's a powerful awareness, a powerful truth. We're going to talk a little bit more about this principle. How you name things matters. It's the difference between living in stressful thoughts or living in loving thoughts, right? And when you're living in that stressful place, again, science, the number one cause of death in this country are stress-related illnesses. So when you live in a stressful place, thinking stressful thoughts on a continual, habitual basis, you could die prematurely. That's just true. Heart disease, ulcers, all of these different things points back, they're stress-related illnesses. And so if you want to learn a little bit more about that, you can actually check out Lisa Rankin, Mind Over Medicine. She talks a lot about that in her book. She's a medical doctor. She uses facts and statistics and things that those of us who live in our reasoning, logical mind need. We can take that and learn how to shift things within our own bodies. Well, good morning, Celebration Spiritual Center.
Good morning.
How are we feeling? How are we being? Awesome. All right. Well, it's good to be here with you. We're going to move right in. I like to review a little bit of where we've been in the past few weeks. So with the Gospel of Awesome, we started with, does it make the world better? Kid President offers us some very easy and simple advice. When asked, well, how can we make the world better? He said that people should stop doing the things that don't make the world better. Right? That's how you make it better. And so then we have this litmus test of before we act, before we post, before we get into conversations, before we do anything, ask ourselves that question first. Does this make the world better? And we might find out that we need to shift whatever it is that we're about to do. Last week, I started the message by saying I want to offer a little hope as we're dealing with many difficulties in our country right now as we have just buried our brothers, Philando Castile and Alton Sterling. I wanted to offer and recognize that there is still cause for hope. And the cause for hope is that which we seek, that hope that we seek, it's within us. We brought it with us. And so we spoke to that possibility, that power, that light that dwells within us that is being called forward. And you please go back to that message last week and you can hear more of what we talked about. And I'm curious today, how many people have purchased or are reading the book, Kid President's Guide to Being Awesome? Has anybody gotten it? I just want to make sure that we hear that again, that this series is based on the book by Kid President, a.k.a. Robbie Novak. This is his real name, a.k.a. Kid President. Kid President's Guide to Being Awesome. All right, I encourage you to get that book because we only have 5 weeks, right? And he offers like 100 different ways to be awesome and to make life more awesome. So we can't cover all of them. But today we're going to deal with chapter 4, and the title of chapter 4 is Talk Gooder, right? It's not good English, but it feels good. It sounds good, right? Talk gooder. And he offers in this chapter that how we speak matters, right? And one of the ways that we can make our lives more awesome and our world more awesome is by the way that we talk. He says that we need to say thank you more often, right? That we need to say I love you more often. That talking gooder means saying excuse me. Talking gooder means saying, I forgive you. I love you. Talking gooder means saying, you can do it. Talk gooder. Be an encourager. And then something I love that he offers in this chapter, and I think it's appropriate for where we are in our political climate right now in this country. I disagree with you, but I still like you as a person who is a human being. And I will treat you like that because if I didn't, it would make everything bad. And that's what lots of people do, and it's lame. Talk gooder, right? And I think that's powerful. We can all laugh and smile, and there's just sort of an awareness and a feeling like, yeah, that's right. And my life would be more awesome if I start talking differently. And our world would be more awesome if we collectively begin to do that. And I think the reason why we feel that is because it's underlying it is a principle that's so important. We know that our words create. We've been singing about it all morning. From the universe is responding to me, it's responding to my thoughts and my vibration. But not only that, sound creates. Because the thing about our languages are just sounds that we've agreed mean something, right? So it's not even so much that the words create as much as it's sound creates. And that reminded me as I thought about this idea of word creating and sound creating, we see that right in the beginning of the Bible, Genesis 1:3. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. The sound, the word created. Now, the Bible takes us there in another way if we go to the Second Testament or the New Testament. In John 1:1, and this is one of those esoteric gospels that I love, in the beginning it starts very clearly. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him, not one thing came into being. So let's deal with this. That word, that's translated as word into the English, it's the Greek word logos. And that word is filled with a lot of meaning. And so when we say in the beginning was the logos, and then it's given a masculine inference, we have to recognize that this is not talking about Jesus. It's not talking about a person. Right? It's talking about an energy, and unfortunately, because of the patriarchal nature of the Bible and the text, it's often given masculine versus feminine, and in truth, the logos really should be given a feminine connotation if we were going to name it masculine or feminine. But what's important here is that it says that all things came into being through it, through the logos, through the word. This is what we're talking about again. This is why talking gooder is important, because all things come into being through sound. All things come into being through the word. All things come into being through what we say. Now, if you're hearing what I'm talking about in the text with the Second Testament, and you may have learned and heard, oh, but this is pointing to Jesus. This was a text that was telling us that Jesus was always there from the beginning, and that's what this is about. Well, if you go back into ancient times, there was a text that was written way before the Old Testament was ever recorded or written, once they started writing what became the Old Testament, or even what became the Second Testament, the New Testament, before they began writing that, predating it by hundreds of years, is a Hindu text, the Bhagavad Gita. And in the Bhagavad Gita, it says the very same thing, because this passage in John was inspired by this. In the beginning was Brahman, with whom was the Word, and the Word was verily Brahman. It's the all that is. It's the same principle. The logos, the Greek word logos is the Greek version of this Hindu word Brahman or Brahma, the all that is. And this is important for us to recognize, because then we recognize that we're dealing with a foundational, even ancient principle. In the Bhagavad Gita, it goes even further, and it says, I am Om, the word that is God. And if you study our brother Joseph Campbell, which I love, he teaches that word Om, that sound is the primordial sound of all creation, that everything that could ever exist or could ever be uttered is found in Om. If you pronounce that in the right way, every sound exists within Om. And so our consonants were created just to break the sound, to create spaces within the sound. But all that is, all creation is encompassed in Om, sound. Word. Again, as John tells us so clearly, and I love, it says that the word or the logos was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through it, and without it, not one thing came into being. Think about that for a second. Nothing comes into being but by the word. Nothing comes into being but by sound. And by sound is nothing more than vibration. Nothing comes into being except by vibration. And this takes me back to even what we were talking about earlier, this idea that the universe is responding to our thought and our vibration. See, we can get hung up on the words and we say, oh, but I'm saying all the right things. I'm affirming all the right things. But what's your vibration behind it? Right? Because we know You ever have somebody say, I love you to you, and you knew they didn't mean it? Right? But I love you, I mean, if the sentence itself, if the words itself contained all the meaning, then you would have never inferred that they didn't really mean that. Have you ever said, I love you to somebody and didn't really mean it? If it was the word, see, remember our language, I love you, can be said in different languages, different ways. So it cannot be about the word. Otherwise, we would all have to learn a specific language, and that's the only way God can hear us. That's the only way the universe can respond to us. We got to learn French. We all got to learn Swahili. If we speak in Swahili, then God will understand us. See, this is why we know it's not about that. So as we're talking about talking gooder, as we're talking about looking at our words, we have to understand that it's the vibration underneath it. It's the sound underneath it. It's the om underneath it. Now, our brother Jesus, he talked about it even more specifically later, if we look in the book of Matthew, and I love this. We're going to deal with this. He was speaking to the Sadducees and the Pharisees at this time, but it's interesting. He says, how can you speak good things when you are evil? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. The good person brings forth good things out of a good treasure, and the evil person brings evil things out of an evil treasure. I tell you, on the day of judgment, you will have to give an account for every careless word you utter. For by your words will you be justified, and by your words will you be condemned. So first, let's just deal with some things, because we got the good and evil in this text, right? And this can create separation. If you want to look a little deeper, first of all, there is no evil. There is no source of evil. There is no devil in that sense, right? And we did a series last year, Superstition Ain't the Way, okay? So if you want to learn a little more about that, go to that series. But when in the mouth of Jesus, when we have these words about how can you speak good things when you are evil, this takes us back to that idea of vibration. How can you say I love you when underneath it you're actually not embodying love? You're not actually vibrating love, right? This is what he was speaking to. For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. This is another beautiful way to understand where our vibration is. Where's your heart? Because wherever your heart is, that's really what your mouth is saying. That's really the sound. That's what's really coming out. And that's what the universe is responding to. And so he says, the good person brings good things out of a good treasure. Not good in the sense of, doing all of the right things. But the good that you desire, you have to match up vibrationally with that thing. And so as you are matched with that thing, then you will bring forth the good thing that you desire. Similarly, we could say it this way. The fearful person brings fearful things out of a treasure of fear. We won't use the word evil because it throws us off. But we know what feeling and fear does, right? We could say the stressful or stressed out person brings stressful things out of a stressed out treasure. Interesting. This is why, it's so interesting when we want to call forth money into our lives, we actually have to get out of that stressed, worried place first, right? It seems counterintuitive. But when you want to call forth money in your life because there's something that you need to take care of, you need to pay for this, you need to pay for that, or whatever it may be, the first place you have to get to is this vibrational place of all is well. Because, and why can we say that? Think about this. Would you ask a person that doesn't have money for money? Right? If you asked a person, if you know your best friend has millions of dollars, and so they can slide you a couple million, right? You know that, right? So you ask them with the confidence of knowing that what you seek is available, yes? So you actually wouldn't be worried because you know you're going to a source that has. Similarly, if you're asking the universe for this thing, you have to already be in a place of confidence and all is well because you're knowing you're going to a source that has. See, we're worried because we think we're going to a limited source. We're worried because we think we're going to Santa Claus. And that's not what the universe is. We're worried because we're not sure if we've measured up. We're not sure if we're the good person. We're not sure if we've really proved our worthiness. We're not sure if we dotted every I and crossed every T. We're not sure if we prayed long enough. We're not sure if we have the right words, but the words do not matter. The vibration does. And that you can be sure about. This is the gift and the power of our emotions, because it's very clear how we feel. We know what feeling good is, and we know what feeling bad is. We know what feeling stressed out is, and we know what feeling ease is. And so whatever it is that you're seeking, whatever it is that you're asking for, you must first do the work. We just went through a beautiful meditation which teaches us the work. Come back to your breath. Come back to your breath. It brings you back into the present moment. And as you breathe, as you learn to breathe, as you learn to not let your emotions be the wild horse running you all around, but you learn to tame that horse, it will calm right now. And again, then you have access to your whole brain. Then you have access to your right mind. And you're not living in a stressful thoughts. Now, further, Jesus tells us, and I tell you, on the day of judgment, you will have to give an account for every careless word you utter. By your words, you will be justified, and by your words, you will be condemned. Now, of course, this has been interpreted, the day of judgment, that when Jesus comes back and judges us all, that's what it's talking about. It's not the interpretation. That's not what's going on. Because every moment, as we experience the manifestation of our thoughts, is the day of judgment, right? In the sense that we get to see what we're thinking. That's all. And so it does not have to have a negative connotation in the sense that by your words will you be justified, and by your words will you be condemned. Now we know this. And again, manifestation is instant. By your words will you be condemned. Have you ever criticized yourself while you were looking in the mirror? And what happens? Do you feel condemned? By your words will you be condemned. But by the same token, have you ever, you looked in the mirror, you got that new outfit, that new dress, you got your hair done, and you're just looking at yourself and look at your beautiful, worthy, amazing, powerful, wonderful, intelligent self. And there's something happen when you do that. Yes, yes? You begin to manifest, and you are justified by your words. Something within you says, yeah, that's right. By your words will you be justified, and by your words will you be condemned. Talk gooder. Ask yourself within yourself right now, what would talking good to myself sound like? What do those words sound like to you, for you? Just ask yourself that right here, right now. You know what those condemning words were. We forgive ourselves, we let it go. We've all said that. Oh, you made that mistake again. You're always messing up. I can't get this thing right. But what do those good words sound like? What do those good words sound like? If you can't find any good words in this moment, there's your homework for the week. Every morning, write down 7 good words, phrases, sentences, affirmations about you. Now, one thing I love, and I've mentioned it before because I use it so often throughout the week, is Louise Hay's morning meditation. At least a couple times a week I always use it. And there's a formula that she lays out, and I wanted to share with you all because I call it Louise Hay's recipe for successful living. I don't know what she calls it. But there are a couple things that she says that if we do this on a daily basis, our life will just flow in a certain way. And I love where she starts. She says, the first thing we must do is think positive, loving thoughts. And that's about our internal conversation. This is that same thing. Kid President said the same thing. Think positive, speak positive, loving thoughts. Talk gooder, say thank you, excuse me, I'm sorry, I forgive you, I love you, you can do it. I disagree with you, but I still like you as a person who is a human being. When have you ever said that to yourself? Think positive, loving thoughts. Have a loving conversation with yourself every day. And it is a choice. Each day is brand new. So if you didn't do it yesterday, it doesn't matter. You got this new 24 hours to play with. 86,400 seconds to play with. Think positive, loving thoughts. And then here's what's interesting. And then if you attach yourself to an unloving thought, just say, I forgive you, and let it go. You're back into loving thoughts, right? We know that can happen. We attach to an unloving thought, It's probably something old. Sometimes we may hear, this could just be me, but sometimes we hear our parents' voice in our head, right? So it wasn't actually our words, but we've received, certain words. Or it could have been a teacher. It could have been some other, figure in your life, leader in your life, caregiver in your life, and you hear their words. Sometimes you actually speak them out, right? They've been programmed so heavily. Forgive yourself. Just say, I forgive you. And you're back in loving thoughts. She says, interestingly, the second thing she says after we think positive, loving thoughts, forgive others. That's also about talking gooder. And you can do this in the morning and then before you close the day, right? Many of you are familiar with this prayer, and we used this in the prosperity class last summer when we were studying the path to wealth. I shared this prayer. For all those I have harmed, knowingly or unknowingly, please forgive me. I'm sorry, please forgive me and set me free. For all those who have harmed me, knowingly or unknowingly, I forgive you and I set you free. But more importantly, for the harm that I have done to myself, knowingly or unknowingly, I forgive myself and I set myself free. Forgive others. She goes on, and it's similar. Be kind to yourself mentally. This sounds too easy, doesn't it, y'all? It is. It has to be. Think about it. Children can do this, right? Children can do this. Any person on the planet can do this, can think positive, loving thoughts, can forgive others, and can be kind to themselves mentally. And then the final thing, once you've done that, that's your work, then you allow the intelligence of the universe to take over and create that which is for your highest good and creative joy. Because you've done the work. See, that's the vibration. You've talked gooder. Right? You've offered the vibration of good. You've offered the vibration of ease. You've offered the vibration of gratitude. You've offered the vibration of forgiveness, and the universe must respond to that, giving you everything that matches that feeling. And this is why, although it feels hard, this is why we actually don't have to be specific when we're praying. See, because when we get specific, and Abraham, I love the way Abraham teaches this, we can be specific as long as it feels good, right? Sometimes you know down to the detail the type of apartment that you want. You know down to the detail the type of man or woman you want to attract in your life. Wonderful, okay? But the problem is, generally speaking, most of us, we get so specific and then we move into worry because it's not showing up yet. We're so specific, and then the next date we go on, that person is completely opposite to the thing we said we want, and now we're freaking out. See, that's why being specific is not necessary, because if we stay in this place of joy, the universe, because it's you, hear that, because the universe is you, it already knows what you want. So it's going to give you everything that matches joy, everything that in your mind when you thought about it, it excited you, everything that in your mind when you thought about it brought joy, everything that within your mind it lit you up. The universe brings all of those things. Again, hear me. It's okay to be specific as long as you can stay in that joyful place with the specificity. But again, maybe not on every subject, but we all know those subjects that when we get specific, we get worried, right? Maybe you can't be specific about the amount of money, but you can stay general with the abundance that you want, with the prosperity. You just want all your needs met, right? And you want to live in harmony and joy. So live in that place, because if you've never experienced, sometimes with your own eyes and in your own world, you've never experienced that $1 million can show up in less than 24 hours. That's true. There are plenty of people on this planet that have and know that experience. $1 million just like that. But if that seems far-fetched for you, don't pray to the universe, please give me $1 million, but you know that your vibration is in the I've never seen it before, therefore it's in doubt. But where can you be? You can stay in this place of abundance. You can stay in this place of desiring all of your needs to be met. You can stay in this place of being easy and effortless and comfortable. Stay where your joy is. The universe will bring everything else. And what I love to say, and Pastor Yolanda and I, we say it all the time, we talk about it with each other, that you can't beat the universe's how. You cannot beat the universe's how. We're the what, and the universe is the how. And so every time I sit back and I just allow the universe to bring forth my good, it does it in a way that always blows my mind. It does it in a way that brings more ease than I ever could. Our only job is to stay in the joy. I want to leave you with one last thing. This is from Florence Scovel Shinn. She wrote a book called Your Word is Your Wand. And she tells this story about a woman that came to her that needed some money. The woman only had $2. And she was like, I need some money. Can you pray for me? And she writes this. I said, we bless the $2 and know that you have the magic purse of the Spirit. It can never be depleted. As money goes out, immediately money comes in under grace in perfect ways. I see it always crammed and jammed with money. Yellow bills, green bills, pink checks, blue checks, white checks, gold, silver, and currency. I see it bulging with abundance. The woman replied, I feel my bag heavy with money, and was so filled with faith that she gave me one of her dollars as a love offering. I did not dare refuse it and see lack for her, as it was important that I hold the picture of plenty. Shortly afterwards, she was made a gift of $6,000. Fearless faith and the spoken word brought it to pass. The affirmation of the magic purse is very powerful as it brings a vivid picture to the mind. It is impossible not to see your purse or wallet filled with money when using the words crammed and jammed. The imaging faculty is the creative faculty, and it is important to choose words that bring a flash of the fulfillment of demand. Never force a picture by visualizing. Let the divine idea flash it into your conscious mind. Then the student is working according to the divine design. Yes. There's a wealth of knowledge right in that space. Yes, yes? Because the words that we use, again, we have to use the words that turn us on. We have the prayer class today, this afternoon. If you want to learn how to do this thing, if you want to learn how to turn $2 into $6,000, if you want to learn how to turn nothing into something, it's based in these principles, and it starts with this simple idea. Talk gooder. Starts with this simple idea that we must think positive, loving thoughts and be kind to ourselves mentally. And the universe does something so powerful. On that, I invite everybody to stand. We know that all that we are experiencing in this country and on this planet right now, it requires many solutions. There's not just one solution that will solve everything, although it feels like that. But what we understand is that each of us are required to respond and do our work for the collective good, right? If there was a problem in your body, you recognize that your foot has its work to do, right? And your hands have their work to do. And your digestive system has its work to do, and the circulatory system has its work to do. But imagine if they were all arguing about who's supposed to be in charge. Well, no, we're supposed to walk. That's what the feet are saying. We got to walk. If we walk, everything will change. The digestive system is saying, no, we got to process all this food and pull out the vitamins and minerals, then everything will be okay. But we recognize that each path must work individually, and it becomes a collective whole, as that is your body. And then you have health, and then you have well-being. And so what I know to be true is that talking gooder is not the only solution, but it's part of the solution. What we speak out into the atmosphere, what we speak within ourselves, what we speak about our communities, what we speak about black men, what we speak about police officers, what we speak about this government, what we speak about this planet is part of the solution. And as we recognize that, then that which we speak can harmonize with all of the other pieces that come together, all of the other systems that come together to create the world that we want, a world that works for everyone, a world that is harmonious, a world where each man, woman, boy, child lives freely, where each one on this planet is living in abundance, where each one has what they need, has more than enough, where every human being is affirmed, where every person on this planet knows that they are worthy by who and what they are. It starts by what we're speaking. So, Mother, Father, God, I am grateful and thankful for the Word. I am grateful and thankful for the Logos. I am grateful and thankful for Brahman. I am grateful and thankful for Om. Recognizing that sound creates and fills the space. I am grateful and thankful for the vibration that is sound. And so in this moment, we recognize and realize that there are times in our lives where we were not speaking well over ourselves, over our families, over our communities, over our country, over this planet. We forgive ourselves and we set ourselves free. As we know that all word and all sound creates, we know that we can replace that old sound with a new sound. We can replace that old song with a new song. We sing the song that is good. We sing the song that is love. We sing the song that is freedom. We sing the song that is ease. We sing the song that is abundance. We sing the song that is more than enough for each and every person, each and every sentient being on this planet. We sing the song of all is well. We sing the song of well-being. And as we sing that song, we are turned on. As we sing that song, there's a part of us that lights up. As we sing that song, inspiration shows up. As we sing that song, that which we do is filled with a power and a presence that allows us to accomplish any task with zero obstacles. I am grateful and thankful for the persons here in this space and within the sound of my voice, each and every one of these God beings that have the power and possibility within them to say, let there be light in their lives, and it is. I am grateful and thankful for the God beings here in this space and place and within the sound of my voice that has the power for their words to be justified. We let go of the fearful thoughts. We let go of the fearful words. We let go of the attack thoughts. We let go of the attack words. We let go of the stressful thoughts and the stressing words. And we replace them all with love. I am grateful and thankful for the manifestation that must come forward as we choose to talk differently. As we choose to talk that which is good, to speak that which is love, to speak that which is of wholeness, harmony, and well-being. I release this word knowing that my word has the power to create anything that I speak. And together we say amen, amen. Ashe, and so it is. So it is. Thank you, God.